We knew with the extreme heat that there was the possibility for some of that. You never know just kind of how some equipment performs in these extreme conditions. So we did have crews on standby, and then we dispatched them as quickly as we could.
Welcome back to Arc Salt Lake on your Wednesday morning. That was Rocky Mountain Power spokesperson Jonah Whitesides talking about how they prep for the record heat that we experienced last weekend. We want to dive into this a little bit more this morning. So we have another Rocky Mountain Power spokesperson with us. This is Bianca Velasquez to talk about the record heat, how it can have an impact on power equipment, but also we want to talk about maybe some myths that people have about saving money with power at home. Bianca, thank you for coming in this morning.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Okay, let's talk about the extreme heat that we did have over the weekend. 109 in Salt Lake City, record temperatures in other places in the state as well. What does that do for power generation? How does that impact what you all do?
Yeah, so we have a system called demand response, right? Okay. So, when there are larger loads on the grid, there's higher demand, of course. So it's sounds like what it is. Yep. And so we have our control center that monitors demand response through, monitoring the weather, monitoring data, things like that. So they're able to make sure that they're able to distribute the power where it needs to go. We have programs like the WattSmart program. So the WattSmart battery. Have you heard of the WattSmart battery?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what do you know about the WattSmart battery?
Well, you need to educate me because I think that is something a lot of people would like to hear about. What is that for us?
Of course, yeah. So that's a battery that people are able to have in their home, and it stores energy. So in times like this, you're able to have that extra energy to be able to power your home, offset your bills and things like that, but also through demand response, you're able to contribute to the grid. So if you have that power, that extra power, it needs to be used. It's not a resource that's like stored like that. Right. So you're able to share it to the grid. It's kind of like a community resource. So it's able to distribute to the grid, but also you're able to help balance the grid in a renewable energy way, through renewable energy. So it's very helpful.
For people who want to find out more about that, where do they go for more information?
RockyMountainPower.net. Yeah.
What is the process for getting something like that?
Yeah, so if you visit RockyMountainPower.net or WattSmartHomes.com, you can check out if you're eligible. So it's really important. Obviously, not everybody's eligible for a WattSmart battery. You have to have like a house. If you have an apartment, you can't have one.
Got it.
So things like that. So just make sure you're eligible, and it's nice because you actually get reimbursements throughout the year for having the battery. You get incentives and things like that.
When it comes to an extreme heat event like we had over the weekend, sometimes we hear the term strain the power grid. Is that accurate? Is that an accurate way to look at it?
Not necessarily. It's not like a well
right.
that gets dry. So we tell people a lot where it's just like it's just more demand on the power grid. So what we like to share is that there are a lot of ways to lower your own bills, because if there's more demand, there's high peak, and the resource, I guess the best way to say it is more valuable.
Okay.
So the bills can be higher during those times. And, it's just better to mitigate that in your own home, right? So there's hours where, everybody's coming home from work at like 5 p.m. And what they want to do is cook.
Yeah.
And they want to do their errands, and they want to run their dishwasher. They want to also do their laundry, things like that. But these appliances take a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And also, there's these myths that, like, you get home and you're like, oh, it's so hot in here. I need to crank it down to 60, and it's going to get cool immediately.
Right.
That's just not true.
Explain. So yeah, that was the first myth we wanted to talk about. You want to cool your home. It's not a matter of cranking it down as far as you can go. Explain why that is.
So it's going to cool down at the same rate.
Right.
So what you're asking it to do is cool down for a longer period.
Okay.
Which is more demand on your air conditioner.
Interesting.
Yeah. So just put it down to your 75, whatever's comfortable, and it's going to get cool at the rate it's going to get cool.
Let's talk about ceiling fans.
Yeah.
Should you have a fan on in an empty room? Is it cooling the room when you're not in there?
No. Well, no. It cools your it cools your body.
Right.
It doesn't cool the room. So the ceiling fan, like if you think about it logistically, it's circulating the room. And what's really cool, something I learned when I first started working at Rocky Mountain Power, is that if you make your ceiling fan go counterclockwise, it's pushing the cool air down and the hot air up.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah, I think most fans out there, they do have a little switch where you can flip it so it's going the other way.
I had no idea that that's what it was for. I thought it was just like go faster, go slower. But yeah, so if you have it go counterclockwise, it'll push the cool air down, but also like don't have it in an empty room. It's not going to make it cooler. What it's doing is pushing the air around.
It's making you cooler if you're in the room. Let's talk about things that are left plugged in, like phone chargers, for instance. If your phone is not plugged in, you still have that cord plugged into the wall.
We call these energy vampires.
Energy vampires.
Yeah.
So it is taking up power a little bit.
It's taking up power a little bit, yeah.
Okay, is that surprising to people?
It is because, I mean, functionally, it's really convenient to have these plugs in. Right? Like you want to be able to have your coffee machine just start in the morning and not have to deal with the plugs. But it does take power because it's still like connecting to the power.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to save some money, potentially unplug those then when you're not using them. Let's talk about I do this. Where you will close a vent in one room where you're not necessarily in that room a lot. You're thinking, oh, it's being redirected elsewhere. So they give me the option to close these vents. It's probably a good idea. It's not?
Well, I mean, you're still using the same, it's still being pushed out the same way. I mean, it's think of it as water. Like if you have a few holes in a hose, right? The same amount of water is being pushed out. So you're just closing off the air to that room.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love this conversation because nobody gives you a guide to how to use all these things in your home.
Right.
So you think you're like, oh yeah, if you know, and it's also like driving a car. It's like, oh, if I close these vents or don't use the air conditioning or this, I'll save gas.
Right.
It's just not correct.
Interesting. Let's talk about smart thermostats. They're pretty common in many places, even like newer apartment buildings. They have them as well. They're a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like, well, and so what I like about the smart thermostat is that you can control it without being home.
Right.
Which is, I mean, I wish I could do that with my stove. I get so anxious that I left my stove on or my hair straightener. You know, I have dogs at home, so I'm just like super anxious that I'm like leaving some sort of appliance on, and I wish I could control it from wherever I am. You can do that with a smart thermostat. So you can also, it'll like also fluctuate with the temperature in your home. You don't have to be constantly monitoring it, but you can also like set it on a timer and things like that. But I really do love that you can control it from wherever you are. And the WattSmart program also gives you incentives for having smart thermostats, but also any type of appliances that offer more energy savings.
And then you already touched on this, but I think it's worth mentioning it again. If you have the chance, don't do those larger appliances during the time of day when most people are also using power.
Yeah.
So if you can wash, maybe do it later at night, possibly?
Yeah, do it later at night. And well, think about it. I mean, like you're using your dryer.
Yeah.
And I love a warm towel in the winter. You know,
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
my favorite thing, and like just drying it and then having that warm towel. But it's the same effect in the summer. You're creating heat in your home. Same thing with your dishwasher. And cooking. You're producing heat. So it's just better to just mitigate that and be more strategic about the way that you're producing that heat in your home.
Bianca Velasquez with Rocky Mountain Power, thank you for coming in and talking about all of this with us. It can be fascinating. Watch those energy vampires, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate it.